Hello, I'm cKnoor, and I play a lot of Blood Bowl, but you probably know that. If you're new here, I've been playing Blood Bowl for the last 20 years or so. I've played from, well, essentially Chaos League, which you probably don't care about, but through Blood Bowl 1 and Blood Bowl 2, and now into the Blood Bowl 3 closed beta. This video is my way of hopefully giving some feedback and some examples about what I like in Blood Bowl 3 and what I don't like compared to Blood Bowl 2. I'm going to try and stay away from the tabletop rules differences. There are definitely some in the tabletop 2020 rules that I like less. There's some things I like more, but I'm going to try and stay away from that. Currently, my experience with the Blood Bowl 3 closed beta hasn't been fun. The game of Blood Bowl is still fun, and I can still see that in the Blood Bowl 3 closed beta. However, UI elements and controller issues have meant that I don't necessarily always know what's going on with the game, and that has kind of robbed me of a lot of the enjoyment I expected to have. Hopefully, in this video, I'll be able to kind of convey what I think my main issues have been and what I think Cyanide can do to change some of these things. I'm also very aware that this is in fact a closed beta and it's not a final product, so there's probably a case where some of the issues I bring up they've already thought about and are about to fix. I don't know which ones those are, but you know, Cyanide, feel free to ignore those. Okay, let's get the show started. The first thing I want to do is do some comparisons between Blood Bowl 2 and Blood Bowl 3. I've created a Pro Elf or Elven Union team in both Blood Bowl 2 and the Blood Bowl 3 closed beta, and we're going to have a quick look and see how similar or dissimilar the games are in a hot seat game against some orcs. So this is the intro for both a Blood Bowl 2 and a Blood Bowl 3 match. The Blood Bowl 3 looks a lot cooler. It also has a frosty appearance because we're going to roll on the weather table soon and we're going to get essentially the blizzard. On the Blood Bowl 2 side, we do not have that issue. Also on the Blood Bowl 2 side, I was pretty soon fed up with watching this intro cinematic because I generally skip over it. But I don't think there's any denying that the Blood Bowl 3 version of this looks cooler and is just generally more impressive. Yeah, so here's the weather table. Nice to see it like a proper pop-up for that. The inducements in Blood Bowl 3 happens after you get into game, which I think is smart. I really like this. I'm leaving this in because it confused me a bit in hot seat, because I've bought inducements for my Pro Elf team, but I don't know how to get over to my orcs to make sure that, to approve that they're not going to get any inducements, because they're not, because the Pro Elves here are the underdogs. Luckily, it doesn't take me too long to realize I can click on that and just press ready here as well. Now we get into the coin toss. The goblin looks the same. In Blood Bowl 2, we focus on the goblin. In Blood Bowl 3, we look at the pitch, which I think is just messier. We also get 2 minutes rather than 30 seconds, which is a long-ass time to decide if you want to kick or receive. Now, on the Blood Bowl 3 side, I recorded that first. So at this point, I'm like, how am I going to set this up? So don't consider this to be a very good offensive setup. I just kind of want to showcase how different and similar the games look. Because a lot of the UI elements are similarly sized, like the player portraits, but the angle of the pitch is different. And I'm using like default settings here for both Blood Bowl 2 and Blood Bowl 3, and it wasn't until I did this recording and actually looked at the gameplay that I realized, hang on, in Blood Bowl 3 I can't actually see the whole pitch. Maybe that's why I feel like I don't have a good overview of what's going on. I mean, the fact that there's a blizzard isn't really helping, but also the blizzard looks cool, so I'm not really annoyed about that. All in all, I think, you know, it's fine for the most part. It takes longer to do the setup in Blood Bowl 3, but that's because I'm used to the Blood Bowl 1 controller setup, or mouse and keyboard setup rather. But you know what? Let's watch that again, but this time side by side. So if we instead watch this side by side, it's kind of to me clear that the Blood Bowl 3 UI is just busier. The dice log takes up a lot more space and is also a lot harder to actually read, which is probably one of the things that are going to be fixed. There's also gray bars at the top and at the bottom, which just kind of makes the pitch itself kind of like smaller, like more widescreen. Sure, they've put the turn counter up there, which kind of, I guess, makes sense. But also in the old place, it wasn't really hurting anyone because that's out of frame for most of the gameplay. The whole setup logo thing with the banner for your team and the countdown, which is in purple on the left here, also takes up a lot more space and covers what your opponent's pieces on the LOS are, which is just like, move it. Why is it here? Like, there's literally no reason for it. The same with the check marks on the side. Yeah, that's nice and helpful, especially with the 2 and 3. I like the 2 and 3 that are on the pitch. But, like, I don't know. Like, it's just busier for the sake of being busy, I think. A lot of this needs to move around. Finally, let's have a look at the kickoff and then picking the ball up and moving it to another player, because I did that in Blood Bowl 2 and Blood Bowl 3 as well. Here we go. So first the kick from our orcs in Blood Bowl 2. Unfortunately, there's a pitch invasion, so I just skip forward 2 turns and stand everyone else up, and we're going to pretend that it's turn 1. That's a very sideway kick, so I have to use the catcher here, but I click over on the ball, and then I click to go where I want to go. I run over, I pick it up, we see the dice rolls in the bottom right, and then I do a pass, I fail it, I re-roll it, and are we going to make it? Yes, we are, because we can see that in the dice log. So that's how you do it in Blood Bowl 2. Let's have a look at Blood Bowl 3. Okay, so first off, the kick. The camera doesn't change angle here, which is... It is what it is. I don't think it's that annoying. I think it's slightly annoying. We get a brilliant coaching, and for a short bit, I'm very confused because the pop-up doesn't tell you who got the reroll. It does in bottom right in the dice log, but it's weird that there's a big pop-up explaining what's going on, and then we don't either see the roll-off or anything else. It's just kind of like... Why do a big pop-up to explain it, but nothing else? Okay, so we're going to use this player in the middle here to pick it up. We're going to use the wheel, take a move action, move over to the ball, and then we're going to go back, and then we want to hand it off to the thrower here. So the pickup is good, but we can't do a handoff. And that's because in the Blood Bowl 2020 rules, you have to declare all actions outside of, moving, essentially. And handoff is an action. You can only do one of those per turn. So I think this is a bug within the rule set. And I'm not allowed to pick handoff as an action for a player that's not holding the ball at the start of the turn. But that also means I can't actually pick it up and hand it off to anyone, to someone else. Pretty sure this is a bug, but the reason I bring it up is because even if this is a bug, this is annoying. And while it might be 100% according to the Blood Bowl 2020 rule set, when I'm playing a board game on PC, I'm expecting the board game itself to take care of some of the busy work for me. And this seems like one of those ease of use cases, specifically for the handoff interaction, where it's not really needed to be 100% according to the rules, or just make sure that the game decides that every time a player is with the ball and is moving, they get to use the handoff action, unless the handoff action has already been used in the turn. That's how it works in Blood Bowl 2, and it works really well. It's annoying that it doesn't work that way here, because I'm expecting it to work a certain way, and it doesn't, and that makes the game less fun. With all of that said, let's jump into Blood Bowl 3 and look at the UI some more. Okay, welcome to the in-game UI. This is like, I have some comments on this. Generally, I think like the appearance here is neat. Up here, we have home, which is this page. We have play, we have teams, and we have me. And then we have some stuff down here. Notifications, doesn't do anything. This is the options, graphics, all of that's cool. Game, sure. Color shifting is neat. I don't have any, like, I'm not colorblind, so I don't know how effective that is. Other than that, you know, let's just resume. The fact that you press play and you don't get the, like, you don't get the online matches is weird, but I assume that's just a, I assume that's just a beta thing. If you want to play online, you have to press this. It takes you to this thing. And then this is the current team I've got selected. If I were to press this, it would search for an opponent. If I were to press this, this is my other team that I've registered in this league. And if I click that, I would search for an opponent. So that's kind of neat, but also, like, imagine if I had more pieces here, right? This only shows the logo and nothing else. So if you were someone like Andy, for example, or Mr. Page that uses the same logo for everything, this is probably very confusing. And it's also like, there's loads of space here. This doesn't need to be this small. And also, what the heck is the deal with, you know, this was an issue in Blood Bowl 2 as well. Like, if I have more teams, fucking list more teams. In this case, you know, I don't. But this honestly took me longer to figure out than I thought it would. But yeah, it's not great. Let's have a look at our test team that we've been looking at before. So I went to teams and then I clicked on the test team. Now it has to load this from a server, which takes surprisingly long. One of the good things here is this looks nice. I like this. I can actually, before I go into here, so now it has to load again because it doesn't remember stuff. So up here we have players, recruitment. So this is buying more things. If I wanted to, I don't have any money, but if I wanted to buy more of the same player, I'd have to click once, add it to a cart, and then click again, which is also really annoying. And then finally, there's customization. Now the this is the shit that's like properly cool. I get to change my jersey emblem. I can change the look of my cheerleaders, my coach, my stadium, and my motto. And as far as I understand, I can do this at any time. And this is like pretty powerful. I also get to say all the different characters or positions, how they look in my thing. It's nice that we have a bunch of logos because currently you have access to all logos. Also great. This is not great though. Like if, say I start out here and I want to go to like page 7 because that's where the logo I like. I have to go to page 8 and then go to page 7. You know, you can fit more in here, or you can fit more numbers down here. Like, there's no reason this needs to be this small. With that said, same with patterns. This is really cool. I really like this. And then you get to palette. Here's the same thing. I mean, it's once again cool that these have the proper like Games Workshop paint colors. Paint color names is what I'm trying to say. So you can paint your Blood Bowl 3 teams the same as you painted your tabletop miniatures. But once again, the UI here is like, we have all of these colors, but like, if I know for a fact that I want gray, for example, I have no idea where to find that in this list. Because this is just numbered. These can be a lot smaller than they are. A really cool feature where the UI is weirdly designed. Hi, Thursday. I'm sorry, my cat is being very talkative. Here's the thing that doesn't properly work. So in Blood Bowl 2, if you want to move someone, you click on them and then you like press a button that says move player or select player or whatever it says, and then you click another space. That's kind of annoying. This is I think a better system. It's just that it's implemented poorly. So say for example I want to move Sophia Velvet here down to the 13th spot. I'd have to do this, which once again is really annoying. I'd much rather be able to just click the same thing until that piece is down where at that spot where it wants to be, because I can just sit around here, and if I click the same thing, it's just swapping spots with the previous one. That's weird to me. Let's go back to Sophie here and go for customization. Once again, in the beta, there's not any difference here, but you're supposed to be able to change like head, right and left shoulder. All of this, super duper cool. Also, there's a cat here now, so you can. I might disappear and they might be just a cat tail in a bit. But more importantly, you can change the name here. The issue I have with this is that if I want to rename my whole team after I bought them, Thursday, you're you're blocking the camera. I'm sorry. Okay, hopefully that amount of cat petting has calmed the cat down. What I was trying to say was, if I want to rename my whole team, we did this on stream and it took around 8 minutes. Like, the step from going... Okay, let's do this. I will rename, once we load in here, I'm going to rename this Blitzer to Thursday, which is the name of our cat. Confirm. And then we have to wait for it. And there we go. And I have to press back. And I have to press back. Whoops, too much. And we get into here. And then it loads. Cool. And now, for the next one, I have to do this again. And this is a lot quicker than when it was busy earlier. But, like... it's too many steps. Because I'm going to do this... one at a time. Like, I'm probably going to do this once, right? And I'm going to rename everyone. The fact that I have to go in and then out all the way and then in. You know, just have a... rather than having these, at least give me, like, a customization or, like, a player customization button. I guess that takes us to gameplay here, but, like, do something so I have to click less. Okay. Finally, let's go to play here and play hot seat. Match settings. Clock rule. Unlimited. Thank you very much for including that. I really like that. Back. My team. We'll take the same Elven team. And sure, let's play against these Black Orcs. And then we'll start this match. Okay. It took me forever, by the way, to figure out that you skip these cutscenes by pressing space. Okay, so the weather's fine. Last time I recorded this, I thought that intro screen was something I skipped. But that's actually kind of important. I want to know how many... what the fan factor is and the dedicated fans. And that previous screen shows that. We just skipped over that. That's one of those instances where it's like, that's information I want as a coach. Also, here's the thing. On this inducement page, there are a bunch of numbers here. What's this? I think this is like the money this team has in their own coffers. And I'm pretty sure this is the inducement. But there's nothing in this UI that tells you that that's the order of things. That's weird. Let's buy one of those. And we have 85 left. Let's buy one of them and one of them. Okay, so our team is ready. Let's go to these green screens. Green screens. Green skins. They're ready. Okay, so we're in the game now. This is everything's default on camera. This is an insane camera angle. Like, look at how many squares this shows off. From the mid pitch, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's something back here, and it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so it shows like a 5 by 1. Like, there's no one that can play with this camera angle. So why is this the default one? Let's go to the one we like, which is this one. Also, let's zoom out. So, remember how I said before that all I can do here is I can only zoom in and out. I can't change the angle. If I press X, it goes top down. So, I can play like this, and maybe this is how you need to play it from now on if you want to get an overview. It's just, you know, the rest of the game is kind of pretty, so it's a bummer that this would be that this is the one you feel like you're forced to play through. So, you know, let's angle this camera down, I think is my point. Everything else is sure, that's fine. We're kicking it. Cool, thanks. High kick. An open player on the receiving team can be placed on the square where the ball will land. So I have to scroll back. You know what? Let's see if we can turn the skills on. Yes, we can. Where is... Oh, right. These are my catchers. Are you considered open? You shouldn't be considered open. No. There you go. The fact that the camera kind of moves away is not something I'm doing, I don't think. Okay, so I'm not going to play. I just want to go through some things. If you're coming from Blood Bowl 2, you're not expecting to have to use this radial menu for things. But if you don't, it gets really finicky to do things. But with the radial menu, it kind of works. Also, I don't want to see my own tackle zones. Let's see my opponent's tackle zones. That just ate my blitz. And I selected a move action in the radial menu. So I think this is a bug. And because we didn't select this player as the target, we can't do anything. It is what it is, but it's kind of cool that it happened when I was just looking at the UI. Okay. So other things I want to talk about the UI. One of the things I mentioned at the top was this black bar here and here makes no sense. I mean, so these buttons here, right? They're also available. Hang on. They're also available here. So why are they here? Because you're not supposed to be using these buttons. You're supposed to be using this thing. So why are they in two places if I need to use the radial menu? And if I don't need to use not everything I need to use is here. Like, if I wanted to jump over a player, I still have to use the radial menu because this is not an option. All this does is list the available actions I still have left to take this turn. But why put them here? Put them somewhere up where if you want to display what actions are available still, put them where the rest of my resources are then. Don't put them here. And move the dice log back. There were issues with the Blood Bowl 2 one, but at least it worked, and it was readable, and it was always visible. This thing has... If I want more information, I click on it again, and now all of a sudden, it's this big. And look at the information this gives me by being this big. It doesn't give me a lot. It just adds extra... Yeah. That needs to be reworked. The fact that we have a grid from the start is nice. let's talk about the skills. Please stop redesigning them. Like, this happens with every iteration. So Blood Bowl 1 had text. And then Blood Bowl 2 went to icons, which I understand because you don't want to write out text. However, if you've already learned what those skill icons were, why have they been redesigned? As in, not redesigned is the wrong word. Why have they been reimagined? Because a lot of these skills are the same as they were previously. Let's just turn all of them on. There we go. But others are different. So, for example, this piece, right? In Blood Bowl 2, anything that had a reroll on it had a dice on it. It doesn't anymore, so there's nothing on the skill icon itself that indicates if it's a reroll or a modifier. Now, some of these have split color backgrounds, and they no longer relate to the, the skill section that the skill is in. Like, if it's an agility skill, it has a certain color. If it's a strength skill, it has something else. Now, it seems to be like maybe green is movement, orange or red is definitely like blocking related, because this is brawler, this is tackle, but this tackle is both blocking and movement related, which is true. This is right stuff, which is apparently purple and blue, because blue is, it's needlessly confusing, and the fact that the colors no longer indicate the skill tier makes it even more confusing for a returning player. To kind of get back on track, get rid of these things or move them. The fact that we don't have an in-game chat, but we have this thing instead, is... I don't like it. Give me in-game chat. Just... the Blood Bowl community is so important that you can say good game, well played, or, like almost everything Blood Bowl related has built on the fact that you're playing against an opponent that you know or you get to know through league play, and the fact that you can't interact with that opponent to comment on a play or even ask, hey, can we take a quick pause? I need a bio break, is like, it's not okay. It's not okay. Like, at all. I dislike it a lot. These colors here, I understand what they're for. But I get the same information up here. And it's kind of annoying to have a certain part of the screen blocked off. Especially because it means that these areas, right? When it's the green screen's turn, let me end my turn here. Check this out. Look at these. These things move. So all this does is, like, if this just covered this corner, I think that would be fine, but it's not. It covers this whole side. And then these move in for no reason. It's kind of hard to tell when we're in the middle of a game, but in this version, these squares here is essentially your reserves, and your injuries, and your KOs, and your serves, and your and people that have been sent off, which means I can no longer, when I'm playing at a glance. So I'm playing Pro Elves. I want to look over and say, how many Black Orcs have I injured? Just at a glance, I don't know if these guys are reserved or in reserve. I don't know if they're dead. I know if they're dead because they're on the floor. But they're not, like, the difference between them being KO'd and dead is a tiny icon, and it's not a quick glance. It's a look over and make sure that you're correct kind of scenario, which, when you're in 2-minute turns with a bonus timer, is not something you want. Especially when these areas are here. Like, This is even like the apothecary tent. Why aren't like KOs and stuff here and the reserves over here? Like, there's no reason to have them on this line other than making it extra confusing. And it's I do not like it. This I fucking love. I love this bit. I think this is really smart. I think this is prior to Nuffle. This is like the kickoff. This is the weather. I'm guessing these are player cards that you can buy. That's fine. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Yes. Once you're out of rerolls, this icon disappears. It should say 0. Also, bonus time should refresh every half. It shouldn't be a full game bonus time. One of the things I haven't talked about is how poorly the game controls with mouse and keyboard. Now, when I play Blood Bowl 2, I play with the old Blood Bowl 1 control scheme, which means you select a player with left mouse button, and then you confirm its action with the right. In Blood Bowl 3 currently, you click on something, and then you keep clicking on things, and then you confirm the movement of what you're trying to do with space. Which, it's not my favorite. I'm fine with it. I can probably learn to play with it. But there's almost no feedback as to what you're doing currently. When you're trying to blitz, there's no sound effect when either your player or your opponent player is blitzing. There's also nothing to indicate who on your opponent's side is throwing a block until you see the result of the block. And I didn't even get into the block animation or the 3D dice, where it's like, it's super weird in the timing where if I do an action, I instantly know if I fail, but if I succeed, it rolls a die and I know that I succeed. It's so strange. All of the timings on all of the actions are off. The reason I didn't mention it is because I'm assuming that that's something that's going to be fixed regardless. But I think it's important to note at the end here on a already way too long video that the main issue I had outside of UI issues or some of the ease of use implementations of the new rule set or the icons is the fact that it's not fun to control and it's not fun to watch what your opponent's doing because you cannot understand what's going on. Like, you don't see your opponent like plotting to run a certain way. At least I don't think that you do. You don't know when they're preparing to do a block. It just happens. So a block happens. You see the result in the circle, and it's flat icons that you see your opponent pick, and then it asks you to use a skill. If you have, for example, Fend or Stand Firm, if you've been playing Imperial Nobility, which means that I always pick use the skill, but there's never any strategy to it because I don't know which of my players are affected by the block, because I don't see that until after the block usually, and that's insane. Even the 3-die thing where it's like, okay, I see the pop up of the block dice when I go for block, when I go for blitz as 3D icons in the world, but as soon as I do the actual block, I get the result without animation in flat icons, and those icons are also like the old dice icons and not the current tabletop icons for the thing, which also weird. But like, the 3D dice are much cooler than the 2D dice. Like, that's one of my favorite things about Blood Bowl 2 compared to Blood Bowl 1, is that in Blood Bowl 2 you actually got to see the dice, and then you got to pick the specific die you wanted on the pitch. And that's not there with the radial menu. And the radial menu makes very little sense in that regard. Like, I really like the fact that you get 3D dice for the D6 now as well. but give me the same for the D8 for the scatter, or the D16 when someone's injured. Because it seems very arbitrary which dice you use, and I want to see all of them. Of course, there might be instances where I want to turn them off and just have a nice and easy to read dice log. But rolling dice is the fun bit of Blood Bowl. Well, it's one of the fun bits, but like, you plan out your strategy, and then you have to roll a die at some point. And it can go horribly wrong, or it can go great. And you're hoping that it's not going to go horribly wrong because you've planned for it. You know, if it goes horribly wrong, it goes horribly wrong. But you plan for like, okay, maybe I'll get a push and I can do this. That's part of the most fun of Blood Bowl. And that's currently not in the closed beta. And that's a big issue. So now, if you lasted this long, thank you so much. If you want like more Blood Bowl content from me, press the subscribe button, or there's probably a playlist somewhere if you want to see more Blood Bowl 3 or Blood Bowl 2 content. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all of that, because welcome to YouTube. This is what we do now. Sorry, it got a bit rambly at the end. I was like, I'm gonna be very professional, and then it fell apart halfway through. Hopefully you still found it at least slightly insightful. Holy shit, this has been a very long video.